Thursday night football is here. The Bills travel to Houston to take on the Texans. What figures to be a really exciting matchup, definitely for AFC playoff positioning. I'll give you my two best bets to make in this one, two of them being player props, as well as I'll also tell you who I think covers in this game. What's going on, everyone? It's Logan from Calling Our Shot. If you are not familiar with me, I am currently the backup quarterback filling in for Austin as he takes care of his newborn baby. Hopefully, I can deliver winners for this Thursday night game. The last time you saw me, it was Monday Night Football. A terrible Monday Night Football game. My hand up. I absolutely hated to watch every minute of that game. I think this game's going to be a lot better, and I hopefully we can deliver some winners in it in the player prop category. That's what we've been good all season long for the NFL. Hopefully, we can get back to our winning ways. Before we dive into the picks, let's kind of do a little bit of a recap of the last week. This is something we pride ourselves on the Calling Our Shot channel to do. Last week was a letdown of a week. I mean, it was definitely not our best work. Minus 2.69 units in week 11. We can definitely be better than that. We have to be better than that. You see a lot of green on there, which we're definitely proud of on the season. Still over that 25 unit mark. Let's build. Let's make week 12 a great week. Let's make it a 30 unit end of week 12. That would be absolutely electric. I know Austin will love that as a new dad. How about we just give some winners to him, and hopefully we kick off week 12 with a bang on Thursday Night Football. That's exactly what the kids are ordering. So hopefully that is what we deliver. Now let's dive right into the picks, because without further ado, unlike Austin, I don't have 50 million announcements to make. I just want to deliver some winners. And the first pick is going to be a player prop. You know that's the staple of this channel. It's gonna be a ladder though, so get ready, get your ladder out. No, it is not welcome to day one of the ladder challenge. It is going to be the Woody Marks rushing ladder. Now, why do we love Woody Marks so much enough to ladder his rushing yards? I'll tell you, but I first want to tell you how we are splitting this up. So we're doing over 60.5 rushing yards, minus 110. We're risking a half unit on that. Then the second one is laddered up to 80 plus rushing yards, plus 240 on that one. The second and third bet, we're going to risk 0.1 units. And 0.1 units is a small little denomination of your bankroll. But if we can cash 80, hopefully we can cash the third leg of this little ladder, 90 plus rushing yards, plus 375. So we're really in love with Woody Marks in this game. And hopefully Woody Marks does deliver for us. He's obviously the Texans running back. And we're expecting big things from Woody on Thursday Night Football. So let's kind of dive into why we like this one. I do want to note, playable at 64.5 for the regular line. So if that's kind of what your book's got, maybe you can ladder it with us. But if your book is up to 64.5, play it there. Now, Marks really feels similar to a Kamani Vidal rushing yards ladder from a few weeks back, also on Thursday night. If you guys remember that Vidal ladder, that one was electric. We took him up to 100 plus. He cleared all of it. Marks, similar to Vidal, is a late round draft pick that has some juice, but isn't all that consistent. So when you have an inconsistent running back, I'd argue that creates value. If you like the matchup, you can roll with it. Here, Marks played 80% of snaps in week 10, 66% of snaps in week 11. He's ran well when given the opportunities in good matchups. And that's what we have against the Buffalo Bills on Thursday Night Football. He's had 10 plus rushing attempts in 6 games this season. He's cleared this line in 3 of 6. All 3 being at home. He missed last week versus the Titans, 18 for 44. That's not an efficient outing. You're not going to get it done, with pretty much 2 yards a carry. But versus Denver and Seattle, he also missed. Those are 2 very tough defenses. Now, on the other hand, tonight he faces the Bills. The Bills have struggled heavily stopping the run, currently allowing the second most yards per carry and second most rushing yards in general to running backs at 121 per game. So definitely a favorable matchup against the Bills. We saw Sean Tucker and Rachaad White run for 157 yards on 29 carries last week, both over 5 yards per carry. With a week before that, Achane rushed for 174. So this matchup is looking very enticing for a running back like Woody Marks. He handled 18 of 21 carries last week, and given Nick Chubb's injury history and on a short week, this is just a spot that I feel like they give the keys to Woody Marks and they don't really overcomplicate things. This is his backfield. Let him take you to the promised land and give him a full complement of workload. I don't think they need to really mix Nick Chubb into it as some teams like Gibbs and Montgomery. That's not this backfield. This is Woody Marks' backfield. He has a 15.5 rush attempts line. something that you got to look at, because that's a pretty high rushing attempts line. Of the 7 running backs with 12 plus rushing attempts versus Buffalo, so a very good workload in there, 6 of them exceeded the regular line, 5 had 70 plus, 4 had 100 plus. The only miss was Chuba Hubbard, who saw Rico Dowdle rush for 54 yards on 8 carries, and the Panthers lost by 31. Gosh, you see behind me, I'm a Panthers fan. In that one, that was a miserable game, and you're not going to cash a whole lot of rushing props like that. Texans won't want to really get into a shootout in this game. We got to talk about game flow. Now, I talked about game flow on Monday night. Complete wrong game flow. They gave Ashton Jeanty 2 carries at half. I promise you the Texans are not stupid enough to do that. They have to keep Buffalo off the field. Short week. They don't want to get into a shootout with Josh Allen. They don't have the guys to do that. I promise you they don't have that. Marks will get his chances. I already like fading a bad run defense that has to travel, and that's exactly what we get on the short week with Woody Marks facing a bad Buffalo run defense. So Woody Marks, take us to the promised land, cash this little ladder that we got for his rushing yards. If he wants to go for 100 plus, just blow it out of the water. I'm totally down with that. Come on, Woody. He'll have our back. Now let's move on to the second pick. It's only going to be a half unit prop, but it's a market we've definitely dabbled in this season. It's Khalil Shakir of the Bills over 5.5 quarter-one receiving yards. So I would play this one up to like 7.5. I like the value on 2+ receptions at plus 210, but rather stick to 1 reception instead of chasing value on a Thursday night. This just feels like a little bit safer angle to take. If he catches 2, he'll easily clear this line, because this is Khalil Shakir, one of Josh Allen's best weapons. Should have his chances. You, the viewer, had more receiving yards than Khalil Shakir did last week, because he had 1 catch, -3 yards. That just simply isn't going to cut it. I would expect the Bills to try to incorporate him a little bit more into this game. You got to get guys like that involved. The Texans are an elite defense, especially on the perimeter outside. They can be beat in the slot, though. That's where we've seen a little bit of vulnerability for this Texan defense, where Khalil Shakir lines up. Sometimes he runs a lot of his routes out of the slot too. The Texans also run the 6th most zone coverage, which Khalil Shakir has performed well against. You know exactly what Josh Allen's thinking. He's like, go sit where the defenders aren't, Shakir, and I'll find you. And that's exactly what we need them to establish early. This year, Shakir is averaging 2.25 yards per route versus zone compared to 1.62 versus man. The Texans have an elite pass rush. So what do you do against an elite pass rush? Short passing game. And that's I think what the Bills do to try to get the ball outside to Shakir, he's really good. He's elite at yards after the catch as well. All it really takes is 1 to cash this line, and I think that's what we get to kind of cap this one off. As far as like the Bills team, they're a mash unit, especially at the receiver position. Kincaid, obviously tight end, Curtis Samuel, Mecole Hardman, all out. So it's like, who do we turn to in this spot? There's chemistry with Shakir and Josh Allen. I think early he's going to be looking for him. Keon Coleman was a healthy scratch last week, but he's probably thrust back into action. I think Shakir will be on the field for almost every passing down. He's a guy that has to be out there. And again, Josh Allen will be looking for a guy like this early and often. Bonus narrative, talked about it enough. If we all don't have baby fever, well, Khalil Shakir also has baby fever. He just became a father earlier this week, like Austin. So if you're a narrative player like I am, you just have to play it at this point. And I think Shakir does get it done for us. All we need is really 1 catch early in this game, and hopefully Josh Allen does deliver that. To Shakir. That fingers crossed. I love that as our second little player prop of the day. Now, again, what we like to do in these videos is we kind of like to talk about some of the game leans that we're going with. Sometimes they pan out, sometimes they don't. On Monday night, I told you I liked the under. Took an absolute miracle to cash that under, but it cashed nonetheless. So, a little mini victory for that if you did take it. But the lean that I would take in this one would be the Texans +6. Again, if I had to bet this game, I like the angle for the Texans. They are a conservative offense, and on a short week, that style of football can work, because in Thursday night football, you sometimes have a really bad product of football, but simplifying the game and running the ball, that teams like that win on Thursday night football, and that's what the Texans do. Backing a home underdog that wants to run the football against the 31st rated rushing defense in yards allowed, sign me up. I mean, we're already on the Woody Marks wagon, in the Woody Marks ladder, whatever you want to call it. Why wouldn't I also be in favor of the Texans? I do think they have a shot to win this game. I don't think they're that far below the level of football that Buffalo is playing. Texans are a better team at home as well against the spread, 3-2 against the spread, versus on the road, they're 1-4 against the spread. So you have to back them with caution on the road. But at home in this spot, I think they show up in a big way. The style of football that the Texans play is very similar to one of the games that the Bills already did play, which was against the Falcons back in October, where Buffalo lost 24-14. Now, every team is different, and I understand the Falcons are not the Texans, but they play very similar brands of football. They like to get their running backs involved, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. They like to play keep away. They like to play a very physical brand of football up front. Good, really good, solid defense behind them. Pretty decent coverage as well for Atlanta. Thinking about their secondary, Houston does a lot of the things Atlanta does, and on the defensive side, they are light years better than Atlanta. Houston defense, first in points allowed, third in passing yards allowed, third in rushing yards allowed. This is an elite Houston defense. I don't think Josh Allen's just going to waltz in here and light them up for like 28 to 30 points. I just don't see that happening. I see this Texans defense really coming out and playing strong in this one, and being able to cover the spread and have this as a one possession game throughout most of the game, with a chance maybe to even win it. Playing conservative, not the worst thing in the world, because you don't want to get in a shootout with Josh Allen. Many teams do that. They make the mistake of doing that, and it doesn't really work. Josh Allen is great at extending plays down the field, but something this Houston defense does a really good job of is in terms of yards per play, they're second best in yards per play allowed. So they limit Josh Allen chucking the ball 40 plus yards down the field. They're going to take away that type of thing, which is, again, the Shakir angle that we've already talked about. I think he's going to have to take a lot of checkdowns in this one. He's going to have to be patient. And one of the things that resulted in them losing that Atlanta game, he wasn't patient. He was always looking down the field, and Atlanta took that away and said, you got to beat us by death by 1,000 cuts. And the Bills did not rise to the occasion. So again, the Bills are a really good football team. I'm not discounting them, but I think the Texans might be a sneaky play in this one. So I think the Texans might just have something for them. I definitely think that's in the realm of possibility. Love them on the underdog spread. Now let's do a quick little recap of the picks in case you missed them. We got the Woody Marks ladder. Woody Marks is going to come through in a big way for the Calling Our Shot community. Maybe if he gets 100 plus yards, maybe a Woody Marks jersey is in the cart. We'll see. We also had Khalil Shakir over 5.5 quarter one receiving yards. So you just got to get it done early in that one. It's either going to be a hit or miss, and hopefully it is a hit. And then my lean on the game would be Texans +6. Again, if no units attached to that one, but if you want to bet it, definitely that's the angle that I would be on. And speaking of betting games and betting sides and totals, go ahead and watch. I go through, Austin and I normally together go through the whole entire NFL slate video, and we talk about every single game, which side, which total we like. Also give our best bets as far as spread picks in that one. So this week, obviously no Austin. I just did it myself. I talked for like a half hour straight. But I am always really excited to do that video. So I'm going to go ahead and link it on the screen. If you're done with this video, looking for something else to look to, whet your gambling appetite, definitely go check that out. Well, Austin's likely back for the next NFL video, barring extreme circumstances. Thank you guys so much for kind of supporting the backup quarterback in this time. And hopefully we can start Thursday night and week 12 with a bang. Catch you on the next one. Peace out.